Here we go. Number 7. Well, we've got some castle blocks and they're 2 units tall. It's kind of hard to see that. It really doesn't show that, but these are 2 units. There's one line right there and you might see that that makes 2 units tall. These are both the same height. So if you misjudge that, just correct it. This is my primary view, so I can touch this plane. I can touch these planes. So I've got this plane here, and it is a complete rectangle, and then behind that we have these castle blocks. So we draw our visible edges in first. I've got to have the top view for that hole. I've got to locate it and say what size it is, where I can touch it. So I've got to have this one. So we put that hole in there, and then we can locate how wide this is from, of course, from this view. But we get our depth also from this view. We got the width of the entire part. The width of this could be here or here. The width of these could be here or here. Wherever you can touch it, you can put its size notation. You're going to want to know that for your drawings in the future. Where can I put my dimensions? You cannot put them on hidden lines. That's the only rule. You want to put them where it's most descriptive, and you can't put them both places. So now we've got something else here, that we've got our location of where these start and how wide these are. Right now this looks like one solid thing, and we can't put a hidden line down here to show that it's broken into 2 pieces because there's a visible line there. So we've got these 2 castle blocks. Then this castle block is 4 units deep, but you know, we've got a little step here. So the only thing that we can't see here is how deep is that step. We've got to have this view for the depth of this step right here. Now check this out. This one is a little bit more difficult. If you look at this, this is all on the same plane. So this is going to be just like visible lines, all continues on right here, right? Alright, so I've got that. And I know I can project my hole around this corner and get that. But then I've got this castle block back behind it, and you could project that from here. You can count the squares. That's where that one starts. It goes over 1 unit, and then it dips down. Now, both of those visible lines are sharing the same, those edges are sharing the same visible line, but we've got to have a hidden line here for that step back behind it. This right here is behind this. So we've got a hidden line, and then it becomes visible right here. Then it stops and goes back up. So we have a little hidden line right here on this castle block. And then what about showing the depth of these? Well, we've got this visible edge, but then it becomes hidden. I can't touch it right here, and it continues on. So that turns to a hidden line, back to a visible line, and then on to a hidden line to show that this plane goes all the way across. Now we have this hole that comes down here, and we can project that also from its quadrant. Same thing here. And the width of this here is the same thing as the width of this here, because it's a full diameter. It's the same width all the way around. We've got our axial center line goes beyond the material of the part. Our legs right here. Let me go back and get this. Sorry, I can't see what I'm showing you guys. Okay. What was I saying? Okay, so this is a full circle. Go over here and undo that. So I'll have my legs will extend beyond all 4 quadrants, because that curve is 180, it's 360 degrees, so we have curvature on 4 different sides. Notice all this is horizontal and vertical. It's all what we call orthogonal. This is not, this is isometric or axonometric. It's kind of on our different axes. So this is what we call a pictorial view. It's just for clarity's sake. We never put dimensions on this. Everything that we put size or location notations, which I'm calling dimensions, will be on the horizontal and vertical or orthographic projection. Ortho means horizontal and vertical. Alright, over here we cannot connect to that solid edge. So we put that little gap and then start our center line and bring that down. Does anyone need more time on that? Okay, number 8. All right, I've got all these parts here, actually, you guys, that I can show my video and I can show you this part. This one is a little bit hard to draw. Now, what tells us what view to draw? Does anything tell us what view to draw first? Nope. I could draw the right view first, then draw the primary view, then draw the top view. Does not matter what view you start in. And I'm looking for this part now. And it's got that. You've seen these, you guys, where you have the head of a bolt and it wants to sit below this main surface. That's called a counterbore hole. It's a combination of two holes. Now the first hole is flat. It has a flat bottom. A lot of times when we come in with a drill bit, if you drilled anything, it would have a 118 degree point. Like that, meaning all the way across here is 118 degrees. But this is made with a drill bit that has a flat bottom. It's called an end mill, and we use that. We can use that in a mill or even in a lathe, and it makes a flat bottom so that our bolt will have this surface area to grab instead of an angled surface. So we have, these are concentric. They're on the same center. This only goes 1 unit deep. But we're going to call this one, if I drilled this, you guys, the first thing I do is drill this hole all the way through. And then I would find the center of that and make this flat bore. And we call it a bore. It's like boring out the center of something, right? When you take an apple core, it's going to bore out the middle of that apple. It's going to go straight through the center and it's going to just mill it out or drill it out. So this is what I call the pilot hole. This one tells this one where to be. This is the most important hole right here. This area right here, because this connects this part with something else. All this does is allows the head of the bolt to be below the surface. Sometimes that's why we use it. And this hole is much larger than that head. So this is the pilot. The pilot steers the airplane. It tells the airplane where to go. The pilot hole tells the counterbore, or this bore right here, where to be. So this only goes 1 unit deep. We have a flat surface, and then this hole is also has the same center, and it goes all the way through the part. Alright, and I was going to show you one. I know it doesn't make much difference. Here's that part. Let me just turn on my video. So if you guys can see this part, it's 2 concentric holes. And when we turn it to the side, we're just going to see the flat part of that hole where it stops 1 unit deep. And then concentric with that other hole will go all the way through. So it's kind of interesting that we have this edge all the way across here where there's no material. The reason is, if you can see this, if you turn that up, you would have an edge all the way across for that plane. No matter if that hole goes through there or not, there's material behind that hole. So we would have that hidden line goes all the way across. And I'm going to use something, a little scribe right here, so that you can see it better. This edge right here goes all the way, I'm going backwards, all the way across there. So that's why we don't just have a hidden edge right here for the hole. This one goes all the way around there from side to side. Okay, so that's why we have this piece of hidden line right here. And let me undo this so that it's more clear. This right here. And that might be a little bit hard to understand. If I cut this part in two, and this was all material right here, we would still have an edge back here because there's a plane back behind that. And if you can see it, you can see that there would be a plane back here. Even if we cut this halfway in two, there'd be a plane right back here behind it. Okay? Alright, so it's a little bit different. We have countersink holes that are combinations like that. And imagine if we had a drill bit that was like this. And this is a drill bit, and it would have a plane right across here too. And this is all drill, and it just went down in there until this part of the drill bit got this deep. So we put a depth on this. And the depth looks like this. If I'm drilling on this plane and I'm going to plunge my drill in this far, that's a depth symbol. So if I'm drilling from the top down here and I push that down to this point right here, that's the depth symbol. And we would have that with this hole right here because it doesn't go all the way through. Alright, so we have a counter bore. And we talked about which view we should draw first. It doesn't matter. So sometimes when you see a complex shape like this, I might draw that shape first. Maybe I want to draw this one first. Doesn't mean that it's my primary view. So you could draw this one first if you want to. And then this one's just a square box. So it's just a square box with two concentric holes or circles. One doesn't go all the way through, the other one goes all the way through. And then from this one we can get our hidden lines. So this one is absolutely centered. There's something that's erroneous about this drawing though I want to show you. These should not go beyond this square object. We do not extend our legs for our circular objects beyond the square one. It just goes beyond the circular object, not out here. It's just going too far. It should stop just beyond the circular object. So if you saw that and ran out and made those longer, erase them back a little bit. Alright, what can I get from the right side view that I can't get in this view? I definitely need this one for this shape. I need this one for this hole. Can I get anything from this view that I can't get here or here? I can get the depth of this here. I can get the depth of that there. The height here. I get the height here. So there's really nothing that I can't get in these two views that I get from this. We have some visible lines that will be projected around. We can touch these right here, these corners, and of course the edges of the part. But notice the hidden line for the bottom of our counter bore, or that flat bottom hole, is overridden by that edge. So we just draw our hidden lines down, and then we draw, project. Notice that this hole, this center hole, which I call the pilot, it's leading the other one. There is no hole up here where there's no material. So the hole starts at the bottom of that counter bore. It starts at the bottom of this plane. So we don't have hidden edges all the way to the top of this pilot hole. If you guys can see that, it starts at the bottom on this plane. So that's why this starts and stops right here. It's just where there is material. There's no material right here in the center of this. So once again, this starts right here and here. And that's what we've got on that one. Now we will have one axial center line for both of those. And it can have just one dash. But don't make these come out beyond this square. You just stop that right at just beyond the circular element. Any questions on that one? We'll learn the symbology for counterbores, depths, countersinks, and those are specified with an angle. So we would have this diameter with its depth, or the distance all the way across this circle, and this diameter with no depth, because if a hole goes all the way through, we don't specify a depth. You get that from the depth of the part, right? Going to number 9. Okay, it's like a little table with some tapered legs. Watch out for this taper, because that goes 1/2 unit and then goes at that angle. And it goes down 1/2 unit. So if this is my primary view, I have to have this because of the hole, right? Can I see this taper in this view, in the top view, or over here? I've got to have this. This is, anytime you have angles like that, you guys, you want to see the side view of that angle. So we need this one, and notice that this is only 1 unit deep, so that's how far that hole goes. The hole stops at the edges of the material. So we have 2 hidden lines because of that taper. We have this corner right here, and then we have this corner right here. And we will have that on the top and the bottom of this part. Notice these extensions go just beyond the circular element. But this one is incorrect. So, why do I have this? This is for this depth right here. You can see that this is 2 units and this is 2 units. But this plane right here is only 1 unit deep. So that just shows that this has a step, or it's hollow, or it could be a protrusion. But notice that this hole only goes through 1 unit because it only goes through 1 unit here. It's the same hole. So it has the same depth in each view. Now this axial center line, I would only go beyond that circular object with a dash, and then out here beyond that circular object. In other words, this is too long. I wouldn't make that long beyond the square object. But don't let it connect to that horizontal edge. Just for clarity's sake. Any questions on that? We're through the first page. How do you guys feel about it?